I'm Al Filreis.
I'm Anna Safford.
And this is ModPoMinute, actually 5 minutes.
We're hoping to scratch the surface of a short poem that we like.
So let's get started. Well, I'm here with Connie Lai.
Hi.
Connie. And we've got a poem by Norman Fischer. It's called Not to be Found. I'll read it, and we're going to talk about it. We know we're not going to make that much sense of it, but we're going to try. It's a fascinating poem, so let's see what happens. Not to be found. The arbitrary, mindless persistence of objects ready to explode, so crowded into themselves they wait vainly for their masks to coincide with an earnestness folded into prescience, not to be found in words. Okay, so the first part of it, what could possibly be the mindless persistence of objects? How can objects be persistent?
I'm already stuck. I feel like the mindless persistence of objects, I feel like I would attribute to the person who's pursuing those objects, if that makes any sense, or if they're whatever they're associating to the objects.
Okay, so the persistence of mindfulness about objects.
Yes.
Right. So the mindless persistence of objects, which is an objective thing, sits with the subjectivity, the subject, the mind, trying to get them. Okay, let's go from there, though. So the mindless persistence of objects, how could that persistence be ready to explode? It's a funny way of putting it.
Well, the persistence is something that's like ready to move. Mm-hmm. It's trying to go forward. So the persistence wants to come out because it's ready to keep moving. So I think
it's almost a physics. Like
right.
If you take objects, let's say they're atoms or molecules, and you create a crowdedness, that produces an explosion, almost like an atomic, to keep to that analogy.
So the persistence is kind of like a reaction, or like a reaction before whatever is ready to explode.
Yeah. Knowing, of course, that Norman Fischer is a Buddhist colors my thinking about this, but it seems to me that persistence of objects, the focus on objects, as you suggested, mindless focus of objects, explodes, right, because of the crowdedness of this. And then they, and presumably they is the objects still, right? Mm-hmm. They wait vainly for their masks. Now, how can objects have masks? In what way can we say objects have masks?
You perceive something to be what it is upon first glances or impressions, but when you go further, you realize there's something underneath it, and maybe something more personal to you that you didn't realize. Mm-hmm.
They wait vainly, in vain, for masks. So objects stripped of their masks are the essence of the object. Masks would be what we call them, what we think of them, or in language, the words we give to them. They wait vainly for their masks. They wait for their masks to coincide with an earnestness. So that's a little like persistence. Mm-hmm. An earnestness, a focus, a meditative focus.
I feel like what you were saying about the physics, kind of, like it's a reaction that's being returned to the earnestness, and it's waiting for that earnestness, and then...
In vain, though.
Right, in vain. But then when you look at the next line, folded into prescience, so that's like...
What's prescience?
Knowing something that happens before it.
Yeah, kind of an
happened.
Intuition, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Folded into prescience. To coincide with an earnestness folded into prescience, not to be found in words. It's the prescience that's not to be found in words.
Right.
Okay, whoa. So if masks can be understood, Connie, as the words we give to things, here we have then later a pre-knowledge of those objects that cannot be found in words. So it seems circular.
So inceptive.
And so what?
It's so inceptive.
Yeah. So the title of the poem is Not to be Found. So what do you think of a poem that has as its main idea that the masks, the words we give to things, are not to be found? What kind of, I mean, it's an unusual for a poem to do this.
I feel like that could be true to some degree because we put labels on things that give them their meaning. And if we take away those labels, what happens? So it's like, you know, the color blue is the color blue and we call it blue. But if you take away its name blue and you just see the color, but you have no knowledge of the word blue and that it's associated with that color.
That's so good.
Like, what does it become? So it's not to be found.
Yes, and Norman Fischer is interested in this all the time because blueness is not going to be ultimately found in a poem. Blueness is not found in words. Blueness is a thing that's prescience. It is something aside from its mask. And, you know, this is a kind of an interesting response to William Carlos Williams' idea that there's no ideas but in things. Here, it's only the idea about things, but not the things themselves that we can ever know, and even that cannot be founded in words.
Yeah.
It's a meta poem, I guess.
Another
one of those. Connie, thank you so much.
Thank you
this
so
was
much.
Fun.
If you liked this episode, watch another and subscribe.
And join us for ModPo, a free and open course at modpo.org.